All right. Oh, hi. uh, Hi. I'm Sailor Moon, and I'm Sailor Jupiter here. And today we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about? I don't know. Now, some folks on you, well, no, we already talked about that at least about 2 times, and I think that everybody knows by now. So it's not even something you need to talk about anymore. All right. All right. So, okay. Now, some folks might want to, I don't know, talk about Sailor Moon says, do you? No. We already talked about what we want to talk about 3 times, and that would bring unwanted attention on us. So, anyway. So, we talk about, this hatred of, of the English Sailor Moon. Now, this can include all the Sailor Moons that are in English, including Dic and Cloverway and Pioneer's work, and also Viz. And I come up with this belief that the folks that hate on it, the grown-ups that hate on it now, well, where did the hate come from? Why did so many Sailor Moon fans, where the hate came from? And I know I've talked about this before, and I'm never going to truly get a true answer out of it. But it had to come somewhere. There had to be someone who started it. There had to be someone who started it. You know, I mean, they bitched about, Southwood's names being shifted. They would bitch about strike and hit names, strike and hit names being shifted. They would bitch about how some of the followings weren't even touched at all, and how one following became 2 followings. And then they would also say, "Oh, that's not what Nako Takiguchi wanted." Well, first off, don't truly know, but I think that back in the day, Dic and Cloverway did have some right to make some shifts. Either that meant shifting Southwood's names, strike and hit names, names of steads, to make anything to make it be more kin friendly or kin friendly or child friendly or kid friendly at the time. Now, keep in mind that Sailor Moon outside of the English speaking world, and there's a lot of worlds that speak English, it was for adults. So only in the new world was not the case, which would actually make some folks think that, okay, yeah. So then you had folks that were hating on Sailor Moon, and at least the English one. And as Sailor Moon put it, I don't really know where the hate came from. They made a big thing out of it, you know, um, about, oh, well, you know, oh, Usagi is Serena, and Lita's Makofo's Lita, and I'm mad. Like, I don't really know where all that came from. Or, oh, well, they shift the hit and strike names around or the stead names around. They would bitch about that. Another thing they liked to bitch about was anyone who happened to be a homosexual, or what do you want to call it. I know that's a Greek borrowed word. The English word would be bender, whatever word you want to call it. But they would act like that was being done badly. But the truth was it wasn't. So they would bitch about Zoisite being a woman. They would bitch about, Amara Michelle being near kin. Which, being near kin, I don't really know if that was a big thing to pick. That was one of the good picks, but it was done. And Fisheye actually was a woman in all the forms of Sailor Moon. So anyway, and I get that it was for adults, and that also brings up that this Fairway is also for adults too. If you already watched our 2 films, you already know that. And if you've been following us for 6 years, you know that too. So, and where did that hate come from? And then, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up, Sailor Jupiter. I don't know. When Viz started doing the rework on our show and doing a release, redoing the English work for it on all the 5 followings, there were folks coming out and they were, bitching about that, which I don't understand. This was the Sailor Moon that they wanted to get, many, many years ago, and they were still not happy. Which I don't really understand. I think the ones that hate Sailor Moon in English are just going to hate it no need what it is. And and then one's giving a shit for it being in English, which, if it's not in your speech, you're not going to understand it unless you know that speech. And let's be honest, not everybody knows more than one speech. Some folks do more. There's a lot of folks out there, but not everyone speaks more than one speech. And I don't know where it came from. I know back in the day when I was first on YouTube, if I said I liked the English Sailor Moon, they'd get mad. Yeah. And there's a lot of things we do on this YouTube channel too that would, make it for grown-ups too. Like we swear sometimes. We talked about some stuff that might not be good talking about. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. There were some making kin jokes. Usually the word pervert always comes up all the time on Sailor Moon. I'm not making that one up. Yeah, you're right, Sailor Moon. The way it goes is that the hatred for it, I don't know. And why folks hated on the Dic one and the Cloverway one, I don't know. They just did. And if they picked to watch the other one, that was up to them. If they wanted to watch it in written word back in the day, that was up to them. Well, now they have the Viz one. And everyone asks us, do anyone hate the Viz one? I don't know. I don't really know. I'm assuming they probably like the Viz one because it comes away to everything the way it first was. I don't know. I'm Sailor Moon, and I'm Sailor Jupiter. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a pervert. If you don't like Sailor Moon in English, then that's fine. But don't be some kind of fucker out there that's going to bitch and give everyone else a hard time since you don't like it in English. If you didn't like the Dic or the Pioneer, which did the films in Cloverway, Okay, whatever. I'm Sailor Moon. I'm Sailor Jupiter. Hope you like this film.